right up to the grass, it cuts it off.
Which one's Daddy gonna go on?
Good, Daddy.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the entrance of the official party. Please remain standing for the national anthems of Iraq, Saudi Arabia, and the United States, followed by the invocation by Chaplain Jason Rains.
Okay, come here. If I did.
You can't go in there, though, baby, no. You can't go in there. Shh, guys.
Mama.
The national anthem of Iraq.
Stop. Stop.
Thank you. That was very nice.
Okay, see.
Isn't your world rocking? It is. I feel bad. He's gonna be. It's not my husband, just my brother.
I swear I thought they said 11.
Mama, what city?
Did they say 10?
What city?
It's over 11.
Love it. Mama, can I have this? It was in your bag. Hurry.
The national anthem of Saudi Arabia.
Don't touch it.
Here, let me have it. Thank you.
Don't touch it. I'm trying to help the baby. I'm trying to help the baby.
Lord, what an honor and privilege we have as Americans to, at the very outset of this ceremony, thank you for your presence and offer you thanksgiving and praise. Today is truly a great day in the lives of the members of this class and their families. We acknowledge you as a source of grace when we are under pressure to give our very best. We thank you for the strength given to students, families, and support and training staff during recent days of intense training. Help each person to continue applying those principles of discipline, preparation, and integrity as new assignments and responsibilities are assumed. Grant us a proper sense of balance in life, whether at work, at homes, and in our faith. Keep us aware of our ultimate dependence on you and motivate us to use wisely and effectively the talents with which we are entrusted. Let the memories of this day live long in the hearts of each new pilot, their families, and all who have been a part of their lives. God, may you bless each family, each new pilot, our country, and its leadership. Lord, these things we ask to you. Amen.
Amen. Please be seated.
I'm already. I gotta stay right on that class.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the stage party. Commander, 14th Flying Training Wing, Colonel Roger Watkins. Former Adjutant General of Mississippi, Major General Harold Cross. Commander, 14th Operations Group, Colonel David Reth. Today we honor the Air Force's newest pilots. This ceremony culminates a year of intensive training. It places these young officers into an elite group, that of professional military aviators. From this day on, their lives will be forever changed. In a pilot training wing, many hours, days, and weeks of hard work go on behind the scenes to ensure each class of students has the best training and support. I'd like to introduce some of the key people who have provided that support over the past year. The wife of the commander, 14th Flying Training Wing, Mrs. Leslie Watkins. The wife of our guest speaker, Mrs. Carolyn Cross.
Stop, Riley.
The wife of the commander, 14th Operations Group, Mrs. Angie Rett.
If you want a snack, go
The vice commander, 14th Flying Training Wing, Colonel George Ross, accompanied by his wife, Marty.
I see.
Command Chief, 14th Flying Training Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Zeph Smith.
Careful, honey.
Command Chief Shadow Airman, Medical Technician from the Medical Operations Support Squadron, Airman First Class Heather Godon. Commander, 14th Mission Support Group, Colonel Ken Bryson. Representing the commander, 14th Medical Group, Lieutenant Colonel Deborah Marcus. DynCorp Division Manager, Mr. David Rose. And 14th Flying Training Wing Director of Staff, Mr. Bill Sherman. We are also honored to have with us family and friends of Class 1011. In particular, we would like to welcome Colonel Stan Doherty, United States Air Force retired. He is the guest of Lieutenant Matthew Doherty. Chief Master Sergeant William Ludwig, United States Air Force. He is the guest of Lieutenant Jacob Ludwig.
Because I'm putting it up to the screen. Put it straight up to the glass, watch.
Chief Master Sergeant Lee Elmstead, United States Air Force retired. He is the guest of Lieutenant Chris Elmstead. In addition, each of our classes team up with local businesses or civic groups to be their community liaison. Class 1011 has 2 pilot partners. These partners have graciously provided a set of engraved wings for each new pilot. Class 1011's pilot partners are WCBI TV, represented by Mr. Russ Geller and Ms. Susan Bell. And Mississippi University for Women, represented by Miss Allegra Brigham and Dr. Gary Blouse. At each of our graduations, we like to take the opportunity to highlight one of our Columbus-assigned organizations. They work daily to ensure our graduates are standing with us today. Some organizations work directly with the students, others indirectly, but they all work together to produce today's pilots. The 14th Comptroller Squadron is a 34-person organization which provides timely budgetary and financial services to the 14th Flying Training Wing's mission of training the best pilots in the Air Force. It is responsible for annual obligations totaling over $121 million and provides support for wartime contingency and worldwide mobility taskings. One of their members is currently deployed to Djibouti. With the 14th Comptroller Squadron and their commander, Major Jennifer Varga, please stand and be recognized.
Did he wear those kind of outfits?
Our newest pilots, Class 10-11, were trained by the best instructor pilots in the world. Our instructors include first assignment instructor pilots, as well as pilots from nearly every aircraft in the Air Force inventory. They are superb professionals, truly among the Air Force's elite. Our instructors are extremely dedicated and have devoted long hours to teaching these young officers to be military aviators. Would the instructor pilots of Class 10-11 please stand and be recognized? We are proud of what we do here at Columbus Air Force Base. Our wing's mission is to train military pilots, and we take that job seriously. We are training the warriors of tomorrow and the future defenders of our nation. The entire base focuses on this solitary mission. From the security personnel you met when you came through the gate to the civil engineer who maintains our facility. Without the effort of every member of the Columbus Blaze team, this day would not be possible. Class 10-11 has asked us to recognize 4 Superior Blaze team members from our many base support agencies. These individuals provided outstanding service and support to Class 10-11 throughout the past year. Would the following individuals please stand and be recognized? Mr. William Byers, T-38 LSI instructor. Mr. Samuel Carroll, T-38 crew chief. Mr. Jay Lackland, T-1 LSI instructor. And Mr. Anthony Latham, T-1 crew chief. There's another group we'd like to recognize. On 1 July 2011, they also intend to walk across the stage and receive their Silver Air Force wings. Ladies and gentlemen, I present the 29 members of our newest specialized undergraduate pilot training class. Would the members of Class 11-11 please stand and be recognized? May you all have clear skies and smooth landings. And ladies and gentlemen, our wing commander, Colonel Roger Watkins.
Oh, thank you.
Well, good morning again. This is a big, big day for these young men and women right here on the front rows. Something that they have worked for the last 54 weeks very, very hard. In fact, I will be so bold as to say it will likely be one of the most difficult training programs you will ever go through in your life. And I know that it was your dedication, your perseverance, hard work, sometimes just absolute grit that got you through this. But I will tell you, and you know this, you did not get through it alone. And I would like to take just a moment to say thanks to a couple of the groups that helped get you through. The first, and probably foremost, are those spouses who supported you each and every day. From those Oh Dark 30 showtimes, to those late night study sessions, to the highs of your initial solo, that first pass check ride, to the lows of the failed EPQs and the failed tests and the busted check rides. They were there helping pick you up, keep you motivated, helping you get through to the next day. So I would like to have all the spouses from Class 10-11 please stand and let's give them a warm round of applause. Thank you. Your values that helped get you through this training program were instilled in you by your parents. And we have a lot of parents here. And I want to say thank you to all those moms and dads out there who taught your sons and daughters, our fellow airmen, those values that they have displayed over the last year that helped get them through. And we thank you for inspiring them to have that sense of service, that call to duty to put these uniforms on and serve our nation. So I would ask all the parents, please stand and be recognized. Thank you.
Go stand. Go stand.
As you all heard this morning in our wing mission briefing, about a little more than a quarter of our instructor pilot force are members of the Air Force Reserve. And we have both Air Force Reserve and Air National Guard students graduating today. And we have a number of guests from the total force here. And so I would like to say thank you and recognize all the members of the total force, the Air National Guard and the Air Force Reserve. Would you please stand and be recognized? Thank you. It is my distinct honor and privilege to now introduce our guest speaker, Major General Harold Cross. And I'll just take a couple of minutes to tell you why he is the perfect person to launch these new aviators' careers. Major General Cross, United States Air Force retired, entered the Air Force after graduating from Reserve Officer Training Corps at Mississippi State University in 1968. Upon completion of his pilot training at Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas, he served as a pilot with the Tactical Air Command in various assignments in Europe and the United States from 1968 to 1972. He joined the Mississippi Air National Guard as an aircraft commander in 1972, where he commanded at the flight, squadron, and wing levels. General Cross has also served on the Committee of Advisors for the Air National Guard. He was a command pilot with more than 5,000 flying hours and a combat veteran of Operation Just Cause and Operation Desert Storm. General Cross is also a published author on the Civil War. He and his wife Carolyn have two sons, Daniel and John. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in giving a very warm Blaze Team welcome to Major General Harold Cross.
Thank you, Colonel Watkins. I trust my sound is okay. They told me this was a stun gun, so if I speak overtime, I get a shock. So that's going to police my parameters just a little bit. What a great time it is to be with you, and what an honor it is to be with you for these few moments to share the class of 1011 in a great milestone of your life when you pin on the silver wings of an Air Force pilot in a few minutes. This is a great milestone, as I say. I'm reminded of a few things during pilot training graduation. It didn't occur to me when I was going through pilot training, but it does now. One is a few words from Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, that heights of great men gained and kept were not attained by sudden flight, but they, while their companions slept, were toiling upward in the night. And this last year of grueling training, which Colonel Watkins mentioned was probably the most strict regimental training of aviation anywhere in the world, you certainly appreciate those words. Also reminded sometimes of Teddy Roosevelt, who was one of our crusty presidents back in the early 1900s. You got the Panama Canal dug, but nobody else seemed to know how to do it. But he said, far better it is to dare mighty things, to achieve glorious triumphs, even though checkered by failure, and to take ranks for those poor spirits that neither suffer much nor enjoy much because they live in that great twilight that knows neither victory nor defeat. Well, you know victory today. You know that your stamina and your perseverance and this discipline that you've received in your young years, which some people never realize, has put you on a plateau as America's best. And your career is about ready to be launched so that you can go out and provide for the common defense and the command of our forefathers of this country. So congratulations to you. I'd like to also, as Colonel Watkins did, congratulate the parents and the spouses and the brothers and sisters and the families of these young men and women. Without your sacrifice and without your belief in their great hopes and aspirations, they wouldn't be here today. So this day is yours as much as it is theirs. I notice a little spring in your step and a little smile on your face. And you have achieved a great victory, too, with this moment. So let's savor this moment for you, too. And my congratulations are to you. I remember a little bit about my pilot training days. I'm not going to go into the rudiments of flying with you. You've had enough of that regimen for the last 54 weeks. We had some allied nations with us from the country of Iran at the time. And I certainly applaud those from Saudi Arabia and Iraq. Thank you for your friendship to our country, and thank you for standing with us in these moments when we need you most as we plow through the uncharted waters of the global war on terror. Thank you for your friendship. I hope you will take back some fond memories of Mississippi and the United States, as we have fond memories of being in your country when we fly there in Iraq and in Saudi Arabia. So thank you. I remember just a few things about pilot training. As Colonel Watkins mentioned, I've got 5,000 hours flying jets, but I do remember where it first got started at Laughlin Air Force Base, Texas. I remember realizing that when you push the stick forward, the houses get larger, and when you pull the stick back, the houses get smaller. And when you pull the stick all the way back, the houses get larger again. So some of the great rudiments of flying. I remember a few little axioms I took with me, that the only time you can have too much fuel is when you're on fire, and that all takeoffs are optional, all landings are mandatory. So a few of those little things stuck with me. I have had the privilege of operating in a lot of civilian airfields along with military mix. We call it composite, I guess, in today's world. And certainly when we flew C-17, C-141s out of Jackson Airport, a lot of trainers from Columbus came down, and some from McCain Naval Air Station over in Meridian, and a lot of Marines and Navy trained there. I remember flying one afternoon in a pattern, and some aircraft came over and said, "Tower, say the time." And the controller in the tower said, "Well, who's asking?" And the aircraft came back and said, "Well, what does it matter?" The controller said, "Well, if you're Delta, it's 3 p.m. If you're an Air Force pilot, it's 1,500 hours. If you're Navy, it's 6 bells. If you're an Army pilot, the big hand is on the 12, the little hand is on the 3. If you're a Marine pilot, it's Thursday afternoon." So we'll all get a congruence, hopefully, of that vernacular as we go out in our careers. I took a check ride one time in a T-38, so I thought I was a pretty good pilot at the T-38. This was a contact check, and I was coming back with my instructor in the back, and I felt a little cocky, as some of you pilots probably had. Your instructors could probably attest to that. And we were on final approach, almost ready to touch down, and I guess he wanted to see my go-around technique, but he says, "Okay, a fire truck just pulled on the runway. What are you going to do?" I immediately replied, "I'm going to shoot him with my gun." He said, "What gun?" I said, "What fire truck?" So you've got to be a little innovative. Training can't put you exactly into the right projection that you are in real life sometimes. But what a great training regimen this is. Let's say just a little bit about that. In the civilian world, we probably watch and listen to too many talking heads on television and radio. When you're sickened by the swinish scuffle for sordid selfish gain with Wall Street, and when sometimes you tire of the crime in our streets and the lies and malice that we sometimes hear in the political world, in the business world, I bid each of you to consider those people that come through this magnificent gate at Columbus Air Force Base every day. The professionals that are so dedicated that they have the true spirit of America in their hearts. I bid you just to pause a little bit and consider these young blue airmen that are ready to pin on their pilot training wings today, pilot wings of the United States Air Force, of this incoming class. This goes on in 4 different bases, I believe, at Air Training Command. And then every other Friday at Laughlin Air Force Base, and I've had the great opportunity to swear about 1,000 airmen in every other Friday out there several times to raise their right hand and take their oath of office. And what a great thrill it is. This is what's good about America. This is America's best. You inspire us to do better. And you should continue to realize that you are the cream of the crop and that you are setting the example for the rest of us in the civilian world. So God bless you for that. You inspire me today by being here with you. I'm going to say just a few words about a couple of things that don't involve steering airplanes. Although you're going to be the best in the world at that after you go through your next regimen of training and you get into your weapons system of choice. But leadership in the military is a little bit more about leadership and patriotism than just steering these airplanes. And I'd like to say a few words about that leadership and loyalty. In not too distant future, many of you are going to be squadron commanders after being flight commanders, and you're going to look around and you're going to have under your purview quite a number of young airmen. Just as loyal as you are, but untrained. But they're the sons and daughters of America. And they're going to look to you for leadership. They're going to look to you, and all they ask from you in return for their loyalty and obedience and service is that you provide them with courage and integrity, and that you're truly interested in their career and their well-being. And they're the best that America has to offer. And it's such a great responsibility that you're going to have when you mentor these people. Your word will be their law. And your most casual comment will be listened to very closely. And remember, your mannerisms, those things that you do and wear when you're off duty, the things that you do in your style of command, they will imitate. And your leadership is going to be defined as how well you inspire and motivate these young airmen. If by your actions you inspire them to dream more and to learn more and to achieve more, you can identify yourself as a true leader. And your advance to senior rank will be directly proportional to how sincere you are in that. So I challenge you to remember that you can be a good accountant, you can be a good businessman, you can be in a lot of other professions without character and integrity. But you won't be a good military officer, a good military leader without it. So hone those skills. When you get those airmen under you, and when you come into the flight room and you look at those administrative people and those people on the flight line that support this great base, and those people that are in logistics, and the firefighters, and all of those that make a base complete and make our fighting force complete, make sure that you understand them. Understand your mission. Understand their mission. Understand yourself. Shakespeare got it right most of the time when he said, especially I remember him writing, that to thine own self be true, and it follows as night the day, thou canst be false to any man. You've learned a lot about yourself at Columbus Air Force Base for the last 54 weeks. You reached down and got the best that was in you. You brought it up and you identified it and you honed your skills. And you were tired a lot of times. And you felt like probably not going on. But your perseverance and discipline came up and brought out the best that was in you. That's what military service does. So strive to be a good leader throughout your career. Let me say a few words about patriotism. I know you're all patriots. I know everybody in this room is patriotic. Someone said that patriotism is not measured in a few short frenzied outbursts of emotion, but the steady, tranquil dedication of a lifetime. In about 2 days, 3 days, Sunday to be exact, we're going to celebrate the 244th anniversary of this country. Our birth certificate, the Declaration of Independence, was signed 244 years ago this year. I know all of you took an oath of office, that the same oath that George Washington's soldiers took when he commissioned officers, that I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter, so help me God. All of you know that oath. But all of you need to consider what it is you're offering up a check up to and including your life for. And that's to defend freedom of this country. Now, John Adams, our second president, told us that on the 4th of July that we should have a festival solemnized by pomp and parade with games and sports and guns and bells and bonfires and illuminations from one end of this continent to the other. That was our second president, who was one of the 56 signers of that Constitution. So for that one time in a year, we should get together and we should have those parades, pomp and circumstance. We should throw frisbees in parks, and we should eat potato salad with our young children and our neighbors and our families, because that's the way we celebrate the birth of the greatest country in the world. The only country that was formed by ideas and not coercion. We don't celebrate it with a parade in front of the White House with missiles and tanks and troops. We celebrate our freedom in a free spirit with this festivity that John Adams described. So I hope each one of you on the 4th of July understand the significance of how it is to pin on your wings in that same week of this nation's birth. I hope at some point in time you'll sit back and remember that great Declaration of Independence that includes the verbiage that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And to institute these rights, governments are formed among people that derive their just powers from the consent of the governed. The only nation in the world that has that feature. So what you're protecting is freedom to pass on to the next generation. We're here today in a free society because other generations before you generated such people with courage and initiative and perseverance as you. I hope once a year then you will probably take a little time to pause and remember those 56 signers of that Declaration of Independence, John Adams being one, but 5 of whom were captured by the British, tortured and executed, 12 of whom died later in the American Revolution, 9 of whom had their families kidnapped and their homes burned and ransacked, and most all of them lost their fortunes and many of their lives, but none their sacred honor. And the 17,435 patriots that died in places like Saratoga and Brandywine and Cowpens and Yorktown, giving birth to this great nation. And that's what you're doing, is covering the high ground now to protect that freedom in cyberspace and in airspace. I hope you'll, at some point in time in your patriotic spirit, sometimes when you're lonely in another country, far away from your family, you'll sit back and remember some of the words of our founding fathers. Perhaps you might remember Patrick Henry standing in the legislative hall saying, "I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." I hope you'll remember perhaps Thomas Paine's admonishment, "These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will in this crisis shrink from the service of his country. But he who stands it now deserves the love and the honor of his countrymen forever." Maybe sometime, at least once a year, we should remember as Air Force pilots the young 21-year-old school teacher, Nathan Hale, who, as the noose was being put around his neck, asked if he had last words to say, and with great courage that you possess, he said, "I regret that I only have but one life to give to my country." So I hope you'll remember some of the great founding fathers like that. Hope you remember Emerson's words, "To what avail to plow or sail, or land or life, if freedom fail?" This is a good time of the year, 4th of July, as we go into these festivities and parades, to remember those things. The words of John F. Kennedy when he took his oath of office in 1960. "Let every nation know, whether it wishes us ill or well, that we will pay any price, bear any burden, endure any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to ensure the success and survival of liberty." I hope you'll remember many of those that have gone before you. 48 million Americans have had to don a uniform and pick up a weapon and go fight enemies of this country in the last 10 generations since our birthday. 10 major wars. And 1,222,000 have sacrificed their lives, giving freedom to the next generation. And the sun never sets on the white crosses throughout this world. The sun came up this morning about 5:48 a.m. and shined on Plymouth Rock, where the pilgrims came not to find new soil for their plows, but to find freedom for their souls. And then it progressed over this great country with 400 150,000 churches of all denominations, 127,000 schools, 4,600 colleges and universities, 4,601 if you count the one up north near Oxford. But our colleges and universities, our churches, and all those things that make America great. I hope you'll remember when you're somewhere distant and you're fighting for America and things require your greatest resolve and your greatest courage. Maybe you want to sit back in one of the quiet times and think about Benjamin Franklin with his loaf, Betsy Ross with her needle, Daniel Boone with his rifle, Babe Ruth with his bat, Newt Rockney with his football, Charles Lindbergh with his Spear of St. Louis, Thomas Edison with his light bulb, Eli Whitney with his cotton gin, Henry Ford with his T-model. And I could go on and on and on. Billy Graham with his Bible, Stephen Foster with his piano. All those great American spirits that roll up into one great spirit now, and that's of those who defend ultimately our freedom. That's what we celebrate on this day, 4th of July, Sunday. So yes, John Adams, if your spirit is here and you can hear us, we're going to have, again, in the United States, 244 years after you said this, we're going to have festivities. And we're going to solemnize it with pomp and parade, and with games and sports, and with bells and bonfires and guns. We're going to celebrate with illuminations from one end of this continent to the other. And we're going to pin on 29 people, 26 American people, and 3 foreign allies, Air Force pilot wings, again, to keep this flow of this great blue line going so that the high ground will be covered and freedom will be passed on. That's the significance of this patriotism that you should have a passion for as an Air Force pilot. You should have an extreme passion for this patriotism, because it's the same thing that Nathan Hale exhibited. You may be asked to give your life for this country. And you're the ones that stand and fight when others break and run. You're the line of defense. For all of you in this room, including these pilots, that have stood a post of danger, or have walked a patrol, or have stood on the deck of a rolling ship in high seas, or have crewed an airplane over hostile skies, or have in any way suffered the terrible deprivations, either psychological or physical, of war. Let me say to you, on behalf of my commission from the President of the United States, the 2 most meaningful words in the English language when said with sincerity. Thank you. Thank you for what you did to pass on to your generation. You stood on the perimeters of freedom, and your line held. And because of that, this generation produced these fine young men and women. And they will go on to illustrious careers, and they will produce another generation of what we call our best and our brightest, our warriors, those that will pass on freedom. So class 1011, may the winds always be at your back, and may your air be smooth.
Thank you very much.
And may your flight through life be sustained with integrity and loyalty and commitment and purpose. And may the wind under your wings be your passion for this country and your dedication and your spirit to pass on freedom to the next generation. In closing, recall the words of Oliver Wendell Holmes, who was a Civil War fighter, later became Supreme Court Justice, Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court. And he remembered the words of John Adams about the festivities solemnized with pomp and circumstance. And he also noted that in all those parades that's going to go through every hamlet and every town, and on most military bases, there'll be all kinds of things in the parade: floats, bicycles, Boy Scouts, all different kinds of groups. But it'll always be led with this Star-Spangled Banner in the front with color guard. Doesn't have 13 stars now in John Adams' time. It has 50.
I got him.
And he penned the point about that flag that I'll leave you with. Washed in the blood of the brave and the blooming, snatched from the altars of insolent foes, burning with star fires but never consuming, flash its broad colors of lily and rose.
Yeah.
Vainly the prophets of terror would rend it, vainly their worshippers pray for its fall. Millions have died for it, millions defend it, symbol of mercy and justice for all. So God bless this old flag with its loyal defenders as its broad folds over our battlefields wave.
You got it.
Till its star-dimmed wreath rekindles its splendor, washed from its stains in the blood of the brave. What a great privilege it is to see that flag flying over our ships at sea. What a great privilege it is to see those flying over our garrisons and battlefields throughout the world that we've been on. What a great thing it is to see it fly over American cemeteries in Europe,
like 20 minutes ago,
and in Africa, and in Asia, and in the Pacific. What a great thing it is to see it fly on the tails of our aircraft, or somewhere on your flight suit, as Oliver Wendell Holmes so eloquently penned. God bless all of you veterans, and all you young pilots that will go forth now and take the high ground and keep us safe. And this young pilot training class that's coming in, the son of my former roommate at Del Rio, Texas, is in this class. So we have a long circle of generating new and better people. So God bless you. And may God forever bless this great, precious United States of America. I salute you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. You all been really good. Happy. Great news,
And now the class leader, Lieutenant Neil Simpson.
Uh-oh.
This is my baby brother.
He's very cute.
General Cross, with all sincerity, thank you for taking time from your schedule to come share this day with us.
Oh, Jew.
We'll carry your words with us as we embark on our journey as professional military aviators. Please, sir, if you would, accept this gift from Class 1011 on my behalf, and thanks for your gift.
His name is Drew. You call him Drew. He's a
Is it loud?
boy. Yeah, we are.
What's it say?
Is he one of them? He's very close to one of them.
What's it loud?
In each class, there are officers whose overall performance warrants special recognition. Each phase of training was carefully weighted, and only a slight margin separated the top performers. At this time, we will formally recognize those officers whose achievements place them at the top of their class. We have a small area down front for family and friends to take photos. However, we ask you to please remain in your seats until your graduate's name is called or you see them lining up to receive their wings. Then proceed down front to take your photos. Feel free to come forward. We'll give you plenty of time to get that hero shot. When complete, please return to your original seats to make room for others. The Air Force Association is an independent, non-profit, civilian air and space organization founded in 1947 by citizens concerned over the future of air power following World War II. Today, it remains dedicated to promoting air and space power and a strong national defense, supporting the needs of the Air Force and its people, and explaining these needs to the nation. The local chapter of the Air Force Association, the Golden Triangle chapter, has awarded 2 graduates a 1-year membership in the organization. This award is presented to the graduates who best exemplify the tenets of the association: dedication to military aviation, personal integrity, and a sense of patriotism. Colonel Reth will present the first award to Second Lieutenant Daniel G. Payne.
There's a cup. Mommy, pop. Mommy, pop.
Is that what it is?
So cute. The picture might be quite.
The second Air Force Association award goes to Second Lieutenant Nathaniel M. Smith. The most prestigious award is the Order of the Dedallions AETC Commander's Trophy. The Order of the Dedallions is America's premier fraternal organization of military pilots. The members encompass every branch of service to include the U.S. Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines, and Coast Guard. It was organized in 1934 by a group of World War I commissioned Army pilots to perpetuate the spirit of patriotism, love of country, and ideas of self-sacrifice, which place service to the nation above personal safety or position. This award is presented to the most outstanding graduate. The recipient of this award attained the highest overall rating in all areas of training. This individual's leadership, initiative, and expertise in both flying and academics clearly placed him or her at the top of the class. Class 1011 has 2 Order of the Dedallions AETC Commander's Trophy winners. A letter from Major General Gregory Feast, Commander, 19th Air Force, accompanies the award in which he expresses his confidence and congratulations in the students' hard-earned achievements. Accompanied with the letter, each graduate has been granted a 1-year membership to the Order of the Dedallions provided by the local chapter. Each trophy winner has also been selected as one of 3 distinguished graduates. To be selected for this honor, students must maintain an exceptionally high average in all phases of training and finish in the top 10% of their class. Major General Cross will present the Order of the Dedallions AETC Commander's Trophy to 2nd Lieutenant Donald P. Hilton.
How old is your little girl?
2. Can the baby please?
Colonel Watkins will now present Lieutenant Hilton with the Distinguished Graduate Award. The 2nd Order of the Dedallions AETC Commander's Trophy, presented by Major General Cross, goes to 2nd Lieutenant Chris E. Elmstead. Lieutenant Elmstead has also been selected as a distinguished graduate. Colonel Watkins will now present the Distinguished Graduate Award. Class 1011 has a 3rd distinguished graduate. Colonel Watkins will now present 2nd Lieutenant Brian D. Tapp with the Distinguished Graduate Award.
Yay, Brian! That's amazing!
Did he know?
They didn't tell me.
He probably just wanted to surprise me.
I'm so
What was it?
proud of you.
Oh, makes me cry.
Daddy. I'm Daddy. I'm going to Daddy. The camera. That's down here.
One facet of our training at Columbus Air Force Base is the International Training Program. On behalf of the 14th Flying Training Group, we would like to present our international students with an International Training Award. From Iraq, First Lieutenant Scholarship.
No, we're not going to cry. What's the matter?
From Saudi Arabia, Second Lieutenant Saad Al-Dasari.
See if you can find something in there for him. There's a car in there for some.
No, put your head on my shoulder.
From Saudi Arabia, Second Lieutenant Sultan Al-Hubayr.
Look.
Mama's going to take a picture of Daddy.
Give half of it to Rowan.
Careful, please.
What is this?
It's gum. You want a piece of gum? There's gum.
Ladies and gentlemen, the moment we have been eagerly awaiting, the awarding of the wings of an Air Force pilot. Class 1011 will be presented their diplomas and wings by Colonel Watkins and congratulated by Major General Cross and Colonel Reth.
Miss Lisa goes
The following officers, graduates of Class 1011, Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi, are awarded the aeronautical rating of pilot, effective 1 July 2010, by order of Colonel Roger H. Watkins, Commander, 14th Flying Training Wing. Once again, family and friends are encouraged to come down front to take pictures once you see your graduate preparing to cross the stage. Please return to your original seats when you're through so that others may take their photos. As I call your name, will each graduate please come forward. First Lieutenant J. Neil Simpson from Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Lieutenant Simpson will fly the F-16 Fighting Falcon, Luke Air Force Base, Arizona.
Let's go get her. She didn't.
Who's playing with match?
First Lieutenant Jason R. DeArujo from Bedford, Massachusetts. Lieutenant DeArujo will fly the C-130 Hercules, Youngstown Air Reserve Station, Ohio, Ohio Air National Guard. First Lieutenant Hassan Ghali from Al-Qut, Iraq. Lieutenant Ghali will fly the T-6 Texan II to Crete Air Base, Iraq, Iraqi Air Force. First Lieutenant William J. Pringle from Eudora, Kansas. Lieutenant Pringle will fly the C-17 Globemaster III to Charleston Air Force Base, South Carolina.
Over there on the stairs.
Second Lieutenant Saad Al-Dasari from Al-Kharj, Saudi Arabia. Lieutenant Al-Dasari will fly the F-15C Eagle, King Khalid Air Force Base, Saudi Arabia, Royal Saudi Air Force. Second Lieutenant Sultan Al-Thubaidi from Taif, Saudi Arabia. Lieutenant Al-Thubaidi will fly the F-15S Eagle, King Khalid Air Force Base, Saudi Arabia, Royal Saudi Air Force. Second Lieutenant Joshua C. Armstrong from St. Louis, Missouri. Lieutenant Armstrong will fly the C-17 Globemaster III, McCord Air Force Base, Washington. Second Lieutenant Greg R. Bullinger from Rochester, Massachusetts. Lieutenant Bullinger will fly the MQ-1 Predator RPA, Creech Air Force Base, Nevada. Second Lieutenant Philip M. Clay from Kent, Washington. Lieutenant Clay will fly the KC-135 Stratotanker, Fairchild Air Force Base, Washington. Second Lieutenant Travis L. Cord from Georgetown, Kentucky. Lieutenant Cord will fly the KC-135 Stratotanker, Scott Air Force Base, Illinois.
Is Dada going to be one of
those? Second Lieutenant Christopher F. Darconte from Merrick, New York. Lieutenant Darconte will fly the MQ-1 Predator RPA, Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico. Second Lieutenant Nathaniel D.C. Delaney from Ithaca, New York. Lieutenant Delaney will fly the KC-135 Stratotanker, McConnell Air Force Base, Kansas.
What you doing?
Let me get a picture of Daddy first.
Second Lieutenant Matthew J. Doherty from O'Fallon, Illinois. Lieutenant Doherty will fly the MQ-1 Predator RPA, Cannon Air Force Base, New Mexico. Second Lieutenant Chris E. Elmstead from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Lieutenant Elmstead will fly the A-10 Warthog, Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, Arizona. Second Lieutenant Justin E. George from Tyler, Texas. Lieutenant George will fly the B-52 Stratofortress, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana. Second Lieutenant Patrick E. Godfrey from Philmont, Virginia. Lieutenant Godfrey will fly the KC-135 Stratotanker, Fairchild Air Force Base, Washington. Second Lieutenant Donald P. Hilton from Pittsfield, Massachusetts. Lieutenant Hilton will fly the C-17 Globemaster III, Hickam Air Force Base, Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How did he get that?
He's a top. He's brilliant.
Receiving the wings of his grandfather is Second Lieutenant Charles S. Hoover from Casa Grande, Arizona. Lieutenant Hoover will fly the KC-135 Stratotanker, Sky Harbor International Airport, Arizona, Arizona Air National Guard.
Zoom zoom? It's a zoom zoom car?
Second Lieutenant Jonathan V. Kay from Richmond, Virginia. Lieutenant Kay will fly the F-16 Fighting Falcon, Luke Air Force Base, Arizona.
Got it?
Second Lieutenant Kimberly R. Kilpatrick from Greenbrook, New Jersey. Lieutenant Kilpatrick will fly the C-5 Galaxy, Stewart Air National Guard Base, New York, New York Air National Guard. Second Lieutenant Jacob D. Ludwig from Las Vegas, Nevada. Lieutenant Ludwig will fly the KC-135 Stratotanker, Seymour Johnson Air Force Base, North Carolina.
Can he have one or high?
What's that?
Go.
Go.
Look at me. Look at me. You take it out of your mouth and I'm going to get your bottom.
Do you want it, honey?
Second Lieutenant Daniel G. Payne from Lombard, Illinois. Lieutenant Payne will fly the KC-135 Stratotanker, Birmingham International Airport, Alabama. Second Lieutenant Stephen A. Roberts from Milford, New Jersey. Lieutenant Roberts will fly the T-6 Texan II, Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi. Second Lieutenant Nathaniel M. Smith from Manassas, Virginia. Lieutenant Smith will fly the U-28, Hurlburt Field, Florida.
Let me get a picture down. That's him in the camera.
Second Lieutenant Daniel G. Stein from Brookfield, Wisconsin. Lieutenant Stein will fly the C-17 Globemaster III, Travis Air Force Base, California. Second Lieutenant Brian D. Taft from Stevens, Tennessee. Lieutenant Taft will fly the T-1 Jayhawk, Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi.
Thank you. What did you say?
Second Lieutenant Michael A. Thornbury from Collierville, Tennessee. Lieutenant Thornbury will fly the C-17 Globemaster III, Elmendorf Air Force Base, Alaska.
He's ready for that.
Second Lieutenant Ladd T.C. Torigoy from Waipahu, Hawaii. Lieutenant Torigoy will fly the C-17 Globemaster III, Hickam Air Force Base, Hawaii, Hawaii Air National Guard.
Mama's not good. No, I'm sad.
Second Lieutenant Herbert T. Williams from Franklin, Virginia. Lieutenant Williams will fly the MQ-1 Predator RPA, Creech Air Force Base, Nevada.
That's it. You see the patch? Edge of it?
Ladies and gentlemen, as the stage party exits, I would like to direct your attention to the screen for a video that portrays life in the United States. It serves to remind us of the reasons your son and daughter are here today, serving this great country of ours.
Thank you. Oh, there's a video. We gotta watch the movie. Be careful of his hand, okay? Just so you know, it's right there.
Hayden.
Let me do it. Come on. Come on, stand beside your mom. Maybe that'll help with the glare. Yeah, thank you.
Landon, I'm gonna make you spit it out.
Don't smack. Close your mouth. So you wanna watch the movie? Come here, wait, look. Can you see it? What is this? Now watch the movie. See the big airplane that Daddy drives? That's a big one. Look at that one. Open up the door. Where's the Capitol building? There's another airplane. Yeah. Oh, there's a horse. See a horse?
Where's the ring? Where's the ball?
Stop, please. Those are mountains.
Huh?
Mountains. And there's this ocean. That's some flag. It's a cannon. There's some flowers. What's that? There's some biscuits. Oh, what's that? What's that? There's a bell. There's the Statue of Liberty. Say Liberty. What's that? What's that?
tradition of honor and a legacy of valor. I am an American airman, guardian of freedom and justice, my nation's sword and shield, its century and adventure. I defend my country with my life. I am an American airman, wingman, leader, warrior. I will never leave an airman behind. I will never falter, and I will not fail.
That's a big flag.
Look, look. Let me get a picture of this. Stand right there.
I see.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you 29 of the newest and best trained Air Force pilots. Ladies and gentlemen, please join Class 1011 in singing the Air Force song. The words can be found on the back of your program. This concludes our graduation ceremony. Please remain standing for the exit of the official party.
Just a minute.
Oh, you done? Oh no.
Today's festivities will continue with the traditional breaking of the wings, which will take place here in the Graduation Center. Please remain at your seats until the conclusion. Afterwards, you may pin on wings and take pictures at the ceremonial plaza in front of the wing headquarters building. 2 shuttle buses will transport you to today's various events. I would now like to introduce Lieutenant Colonel Alex AWOL Walford.
Good morning. How's everybody doing? Please go ahead and have your seats. This is completely informal. Feel free to move around and come on up here and grab a picture. You know, our Air Force is not as old as many of our sister services, so we don't have as many traditions. But there are some traditions that, as aviators, we hold true and dear. Back in the days of the Army Air Corps, we flew around in open cockpits. And it didn't take but a couple of sorties to realize, you know what, it's pretty cold up here. So soon thereafter, they started wearing the leather flight jackets. And these warriors here will get their jackets at their next assignment. Another drawback of flying around in the open cockpits with the goggles was you get a lot of oil splash, a lot of bug splat on your goggles and couldn't see too well. So each unit came up with their own silk scarf with their squadron colors. And that was the purpose of it. Fly around and clear your goggles as required. Yet another tradition, and this one can get expensive, is the squadron coin, commonly called an RMO for round metal object. Each of these pilots will receive an RMO at their next unit. They need to have this with them at all times. They go to their club or local watering hole, and somebody in the room either drops their coin or places it on the table. That's called a challenge. They in turn will have to produce their coin or purchase that individual a beverage of his choice. Now, if they're successful in producing their coin, then they in turn get the beverage of their choice. Now, you can see in a room full of people that can get quite expensive if you're the only one that doesn't have your RMO. Trust me, my wife's here. I've got a couple of those t-shirts hanging in my closet. Now for the breaking of the wings. Each time we fly as a pilot, we count on two things: good skill and good fortune. We've given these pilots the skill. Now for the fortune, it's tradition that the pilot breaks his first set of aeronautical wings, with the assumption that this is the only set of wings he will ever break. The pilot, once he breaks his wings, he will keep half for himself and then give the other half to a loved one, or family member or best friend. And these wings will never be joined until the pilot is at, many years from now, at his final resting place. Another thing about pilot training, it's about taking instruction and applying that instruction. Now, these warriors here were instructed to score the back of their wings, otherwise this is going to be a long event. So what we're going to do now is, if you guys can produce your scored set of wings, this is where we get to see how they applied that instruction. And please feel free to come on up. I'm going to count to 3.
Come on, baby, stop.
At which time you will bend and break your set of wings. Once completed, you will hold them high over your craniums, take one step back, and then please feel free to mock those that are having difficulties.
That's funny.
Are you ready? 1, no head start. 2, 3.
Oh, Brian can't do it. There.
Did Daddy do it?
Yeah. Stop pulling on me, Rah-Rah.
All right, well done. Well done. What a great day for the families, for these officers, and for our country. Let's give them one more round of applause, please. Right outside the front doors and to the left is a Gene Smith Memorial Plaza. It's a great place for taking pictures of pinning on the wings and getting those hero shots. I hope you enjoy your day at our wonderful base, and I look forward to spending some time with you at tonight's banquet.